Put your eyes back in your head.
I felt like flavor. What me?
Pry their eyes open and force them to see the truth. We will skin the sheep and sacrifice the weak. The Unholy Alliance has arrived.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. I was gonna start on a different hand, but since we have some unforeseen circumstances, I say fuck it. Fuck that. I'm gonna just get straight to the bullshit. I mean, it's a Monday night. All eyes on us. All eyes on me. All eyes on me. This is the one, the only mad one, the mad senator, the senator himself. He likes to call himself the great one, the only one half of the originator, 1/3 of the heavy hitters, and 1/80th 100 billion trillion of the Unholy Alliance, because I can't count how many of these motherfuckers there is, so I'm gonna just leave it like that. Just know we and that's Unholy Alliance with the one, okay? It's not an I, it's a one. All right, we're the only ones.
Free.
I mean, I got a lot to say, and I think it's appropriate that I got one of the angriest motherfuckers in the universe on the show with me right now. He goes by OG Big Sam for obvious reasons. If you was born in the 90s and you seen something on television, on the news, you probably know why he's called Big Sam, because only Big Sam does it big. I'm not gonna give out too much information, but those who know Sam know what I'm talking about. And yes, I did. I did say that, Sam.
Yeah.
Not only that, he goes by Mr. White, the one behind the name the Unholy Alliance. And I think he has a lot to say himself. So it's going to be kind of a free flowing show for the most part. But OG, what do you got to say?
Top of the morning to everybody. It's been an eventful weekend. There needs to be some checking and corrections and chin checking to set some things in order, because there are some people that seem to believe that, you know, trying to prove us wrong and make themselves right, they only make themselves look like idiots. You know, you got people who forgets from one video segment to the next of what they say. You have people that jump to conclusions just because we have a criticism of some part of the team, that means we're saying that they need to be fired. Translation, reading is fundamental. Comprehension is a lost art. It really is. And just keeping it a buck about this fan base, man, they got so many colors. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to keep up with the true colors sometimes, but we have a list of them. We keep receipts. You know, as Mr. Primetime Deion Sanders like to say, we keep receipts. We forget nothing and we let nothing go, especially of the stupid nature. Um, we're on a stage tonight. We have a very important game to play, to keep up with the Bucks in this playoff chase. Yes, and I did say playoff chase because that's what we're in. While you idiots out here talking about we need to start Penix last week. I mean, but you know, that's just my morning thought. Mr. Senator. You know, where we can go from here.
I'm here. I'm definitely here. And we got the done in here also.
What's good? What's good?
Everything all gravy, baby.
I'm straight. I'm straight,
I'm
man.
straight.
Just ready for it's the calm before the storm, man.
It's definitely gonna be a storm. And it's definitely the calm before the storm. You can see the cloud getting gray, a darker gray. I just wish we were in a scene from Harry Potter where we see demons all over the place. I see. I I had something that I wanted to talk about, but I'm gonna scratch that because something was stated about this Atlanta Falcon team being in the middle of a playoff hunt. And this is a question that I have right now. I'm just gonna be real, man. I'm looking at this Bucks team, and I take a look at my team. When you look at the Bucks and you look at the Atlanta Falcons, you can't help but see that there's a difference. There's a clear and obvious difference. So, from your standpoint, Dunn, and we go you, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that difference? What is that difference that you're noticing between the two teams?
You talking about the Raiders and the Falcons?
No. We're talking about the Bucks and the Falcons.
Well, the difference is they have Baker Mayfield. I know a lot of people have mixed opinions about Baker Mayfield, but one thing I know about Baker is once he's hot, he's hot. You and everybody's playing well. The defense is actually above average over there in Tampa Bay. We don't have that here in Atlanta. Our defense, I'm pretty sure, is like at the bottom of the league right now. Coaching, Todd Bowles, we know what type of coach he is. We know what type of schemes he like to run. But the thing about Todd is he mixes up his schemes. He mixes up. He don't just stay in cover zero or cover one. He plays pretty much all different types of defenses. Versus here in Atlanta, we just like to play one dimensional scheme of defense. So that's what. But if everybody paid attention, if y'all watched the heavy hitters all season long, remember I said like a month ago, I'm like, Tampa Bay schedule is going to get easy, and if they get hot at the right moment, we could very well, you know, be sitting in second or third place in the division. I said this over a month ago, and here we are now. You know, and I don't like to say I prophesized this because trust me, as a Falcons fan, I didn't want this to happen. I really wanted us to run away with the damn division a few weeks ago, as we should have. But here we are now.
Huh. Well,
Yep.
the foreseeable difference to me in this team is that Tampa has managed to win games um, that they should, and you know what I'm saying, and win the tougher games. They've beaten the people they supposed to beat. What we were doing at one point, um, and they've come out and won the games against playoff teams or bigger teams or better teams, if you will. Um, they've stood on business on their mission. That's the difference between them and us at this particular standpoint. That's the biggest difference.
Hmm.
Well, based on what you guys like, I see a lot of comments. Quarterback and the chemistry. Um, it all starts with the quarterback. The whole team feels off. Um, we hear this comment. Um, for me, man, I don't see a confidence. Like, fuck that chemistry bullshit. Like, that's subjective to each side of the ball. I just don't see a team that actually believes the shit that they're saying. That's what I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcons. They don't believe the bullshit they're saying, because if it was, it would be consistent. On nothing on each side of the ball, whether it's special teams, offense or defense. They're not believing the bullshit that they keep stating. That's where I draw the line. Um, you look at, for instance, and I say this, I'm gonna take it to the college game, and I'm gonna ask Don this question: what is Michigan football all about?
Running the football down motherfuckers' throats and playing solid defense up front. Their front seven has always been dominating against their opponents. That's been the thing. That's been Michigan football since I can go all the way back to Bo Schembechler back in the '70s, and it's still to this day. I remember we brought in Rich Rodriguez in 2008, and we went away from that style. And Harbaugh, he kind of brought that back. Hard nosed defense with a just a power run game. This is the identity of Michigan football.
And that has always been, from what I've understood and what I've seen, Michigan throughout the years. That's exactly what it's always been. And say, I got a question for you. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna go back. We're gonna go back to the early '80s, '90s Atlanta Falcons. There was a clear, there was a clear standard as far as the Atlanta Falcons are concerned of the style of football that they wanted to play. Can you describe that
Well,
that
um,
style?
in the days of Lynn Kane and William Andrews, Junior Miller, uh, Mike Ken on that line, Jeff Van Notice Center, we ran the ball. We ran the ball. We notoriously ran the ball. Um, our defense, most notably known as the Grits Blitz, Pride Moore, Curry, and them, and those guys. Um, but from the opposite side of the ball, we ran it. You know, we had Earl Campbell like running back and William Andrews and, and Riggs after him. We pretty much put two, 2,000 to 2,500, yards on the ground, consistently. We all know the story on Peachtree Bart, whose knees were shot for a decade, and most of that was due to the goddamn drinking and partying up and down Peachtree. But for the most part, our identity then was on offense. We ran the ball, and play action. We ran the ball and play action because everybody and their mama knew coming into Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, you had to exact some kind of physical, contingency to stop the Atlanta Falcons' run game. Period. Point blank.
And that right there is one of the things that I wanted to state is because when I look at the Bucs, I know that they want to do one thing. They want to get the ball out of hand. Out of Baker's hand, they want him to throw. And it's a quick passing game. They don't hold on to the ball for 15 seconds. Anytime that Baker holds on the ball for long, that's when he's always had trouble. So they get the ball out of his hands quick. They don't waste a lot of time trying to throw, for the big play. The big plays, if you get the ball out of the quarterback's hand, they'll come. If you build it, they will come. If you do it, it will come. So get the ball out of the quarterback's hand. Nothing comes great of a quarterback that holds the ball. Nothing. Nothing ever happens well if the quarterback is holding the ball for longer than 3.5 seconds. Never happens. Quarterback, and his job is to get the ball out of his hand, and he need to make that decision even before he even drops back. He need to make that decision on who he's throwing to that. So if it takes longer than 3 seconds, the quarterback is already failed, in my opinion. So I'm saying all this to say this. I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcon team. It's like it seems as though what I've noticed with this Atlanta Falcons offense, the only consistent for me personally is this offensive line. I know a lot of people not gonna agree with this, but the only consistent that I've seen this year is this offensive line. They are the real MVP of this entire team.
And that's the facts. The only problem I have with the line is just the penalties we have in our opportunity times. Other than that, normally, and if you watch any even college football games, in every game, there's going to be false starts called at least 4 or 5 times a game. So that's kind of a norm.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Bijan.
I mean that is true. That is true though. But
it starts up front.
It starts right
there. This is why Bijan has been playing well is because of the offensive line. This is why. Same thing when Ajir come in. Same thing. Like we got to give Chuck Lunsford, man. I give him a lot of credit because remember he was under that Arthur Smith regime and he was retained by Morris and Robinson to work with the run game because Robinson he's a pass game coordinator. Lunsford, he's the O-line coach, but he also been working with the run game as well.
And that's that right there is when you look at the teams, like there's one aspect of the team that's shown attitude and they let it be known what they're about. Like people can say what they want about my boy Caleb McGarry, but that's a motherfucking monster. He know he's a big grizzly bear. He know that motherfuckers are scared of him. Them big motherfuckers do not want to fuck with Caleb. You ever see somebody try Caleb? I just want to know, do you see anybody woofing at him, talking shit to him?
Nope. Nope.
Do you see anybody talking crap to Chris Lindstrom?
Nope.
What about Dalman?
Them two bar stool carrying motherfuckers right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't bother them boys. They don't bother them boys. It's a reason why they don't bother Bergeron, Dalman. But you don't see nobody woofing at them.
Look, when you have defensive linemen, you know what I'm saying? I've seen this happen twice this year. When you have defensive linemen checking themselves out of the game
Mm-hmm.
for getting beat up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't see nobody talking crap to them 5 guys that we get up for. I ain't talking about hamburger. I ain't talking about the food. I'm not talking about the restaurant 5 guys. I'm talking about them 5 guys that we got right in Atlanta. It don't matter who up there. Them boys set a mother freaking standard. Them boys do not talk crap. Chris Lindstrom, you see, if you do something dirty to him, guess what? He diving at your knees. You better watch your mouth around them boys.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean when I'm talking about this Atlanta Falcons. There's no standard defensively. This is no shot at a guy like Jesse and AJ or even Grady for that matter, because we know them guys gonna play their style and they gonna be them regardless. But defensively, I see nothing. I don't see any heart. I don't see nobody who want it outside of individuals. I don't see a unit that, let me rephrase that. I don't see a unit that wants it. I saw last night, and this is probably the perfect example of what I'm talking about right now. That damn Packers team, y'all can say whatever the hell you want to say about the Packers, but them motherfuckers on defense, they believe in each other. I saw defensive linemen literally running into offensive linemen to free up other guys. Let me say this again. Let me say this again, because I don't think y'all probably heard. Let me look. Maybe I was too loud. Let me say this calmly. I saw defensive linemen, linebackers, defensive backs running into the opposition to free up other guys rushing as a unit. They weren't worried about getting sacks. They knew if they do their job, they would get sacks and they would get a stop. I don't see that with the Atlanta Falcons. I see guys running as individuals. They're rushing the passer as individuals.
You know why? And I've been saying this for years. We do not have a true. We don't have space eaters on this line. We don't. Yeah, we got Kentavious Street and we got Goldman, but Goldman, let's be real. Goldman he's way beyond his prime, man. Like we need fresh, big, meaty guys up front that can eat up 2-3 tackles, 2-3 blocks. Like you got to get guys like that, man. And the Falcons don't have that, which is why, like, you got Grady Omenyata. Like, those guys are small. Those guys are trying to get to the quarterback. Those guys ain't worried about picking up 2 or 3 blockers. They trying to get in the backfield and get a sack or stop the run. This is why when you build your defense, you got to be very strategic of who you have on your roster. Like, okay, this guy, I know he can win one-on-ones. This guy right here, this dude is 6'7", 350 pounds. I know he's not going to get in the backfield and make plays. I know he's not going to be on the stat sheet, but I know if I can put him next to my guy that's going to win his one-on-ones, I know this guy can eat up a few blocks. And guess what? Behind him, you got Troy Anderson, you have Caden Ellis. Those guys can finally get in the backfield and make a play behind the line of scrimmage. Just saying. This is how you build your roster as a defensive coordinator or as a head coach who has a defensive mind like a Raheem Morris. And that's why I raised my questions, like, do he really understand personnel well? And that's when he had his own teams, he fumbled. He fumbled in Tampa Bay, and he's fumbling now with not understanding the different roles and the different guys that you need on your roster.
And I want to address the idea that this is a Falcons issue. This isn't just a Falcon. This is a league issue as far as I'm concerned. I see multiple teams, so this is not just the Falcons. Some of the best teams in the NFL, they play as a unit. The Packers are one of those teams. This is why the 49ers with Lynch as the president, he understands this. Um, the Chiefs as a unit, they don't have individual guys over there. That's why they can. It doesn't matter who is on that field. They've lost as many DBs that we have on our roster.
Hmm.
Okay, but they still playing up to a standard. So that has nothing to do with whether or not like this is like whether it's chemistry. The thing is it's believing in that particular system, and this is where it starts with the coach, and that's why I say it's like this isn't one of these issues where you know the Atlanta Falcons. Um, I don't think the organization is an issue. I think you just don't have good coaches. Like it's a lot of times we look at things and we think drafting a guy is an issue and a guy not developing it is an issue. It just comes down to the coach's ability to teach the game properly. Some coaches they're best at developing edge rushers and that's it. And you can see that when it comes down to certain aspects of teams. For
But this
example,
is why. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
if you just look at, it's like right now, you look at even the Rams. The Rams are they focus on certain style of defensive linemen. So their defensive guys are like they're 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 there just to develop defensive tackles and three ticks. But what most teams like the Packers, I mean, you can look at the history of the Ravens also. I mean, as much as people may disagree with this, but even the Raiders have a certain style of defensive linemen, and they always churning out good defensive linemen also. So they have coaches that are good, and the Raiders have never had really issues on the defense side of the ball. I mean, we saw Charles Wilson on that damn team. Like they've always had a history of defense. So the thing is, you get the good coaches there, you're gonna get good results. And I don't think the Falcons have good coaching. Anytime you see there's no clear identity on the defensive side of the ball, that right there is a direct sign of there being that the coach is not really that great.
How much of an impact or effect can we attribute to losing Trice um, earlier in camp to what we are, where we are on this defense now?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a question mark because you don't really know who he is. Because yeah, we seen him play at Washington. He was a great pass rusher, but at the same time, you replaced him with Matt Judon. So it's like, would Trice give us the same production as Judon or less? So it's kind of hard to answer that because we don't know what we have in Trice because we never seen him play a snap in the NFL. But
Okay.
going back to what Mike said, you know, the organization has to have some type of accountability, in my opinion, because when you choosing coaches, you got to understand football. And I really feel like, and then this is not talking about the GM because the GMs normally don't choose the head coaches. They just work with the logistics of transactions and draft picks and scouting and all that. But like guys like Rich McKay, and we know Rich McKay does come from a good pedigree, because his dad coached at USC and he was also the Buccaneers head coach back in the '70s and '80s. But we really need to start having guys in that office that understands football. And I remember, and Matt, Mike, you can kind of remember what I said back in 2020. I was all in favor of the Falcons bringing in a guy like Tony Dungy, Bill Cowher as president of football operations. You need guys like that who understand, who been there, won multiple Super Bowls, or been to multiple Super Bowls, for us to build that type of culture here in Atlanta. Yeah, Rich McKay came from Tampa Bay, won a Super Bowl, but at the same time, like, what has he done since? Like, he's been with the organization since '03. He's been here for like 21 years now. And yeah, we seen the Super Bowl, but we got a Super Bowl birthed out of it. But other than that, like, let's count how many times we won a division. We could count on one hand of the times we won a division.
Yeah.
So this is why I say I know a lot of people would probably disagree with me, and that's fine. But at the same time, if you have a board of directors that choosing these coaches, they need to have some type of experience coaching the game or playing the game. And I don't think we have people like the Greg Beatles. Like, I don't even think, have he ever played football before? We got a lot of businessmen on in the office.
hmm and
We
to
need
that
guys that
point,
understand. We need guys that understand football.
now Don, you made a valid point now, right there, with businessmen being up there, because this whole notion that Tampa knows the reason why we didn't hire Bill Belichick. No, it was the guys over him that convinced
Hmm.
Blank not to hire Bill Belichick.
Yep. The Rex
Okay.
Ryans
And the
and
Rex
yeah,
Rams of the world.
the Jim Harbaughs. We passed over all of those guys just to
Yeah,
get
because
Raheem
those
Morris. But
old businessmen, you know what I'm saying, don't like guys that, have their own mind.
hmm
Which brings me to a question. I'm glad LT came in because I have a question for everybody. We're gonna start with LT. Sam.
hmm
So this is something that I talked about also. Me and Kev had this conversation. Which bring, I think he was in there too, Sam. But this brings to mind for me personally that do we really have executives, the Rich McKay, the Greg Beatles, that are sitting next to him that are taking advantage of a guy that's not a football guy? Because we do know for sure that these football guys, because we've seen it even with Rex Ryan, where guys have just clearly stated their, like, they clearly came in and say, all right, because I didn't like his daddy, I'm not gonna give him a shot.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that. I don't like your daddy, so I'm not gonna give you even though Rick's everywhere he's been, he's done nothing but build great defenses.
hmm
Everywhere he's been.
yeah, but
Everywhere he's
John
been.
McKay.
Hold
John
on, hold
McKay
on,
didn't
hold on.
like.
Hold on. Let me get the question because you can go right after this. So, do you think that the Greg Beatles and the Rich McKay really are taking advantage of a guy like Arthur Smith who understands the game? I'm not saying that he doesn't understand the game because he clearly understands the game. All right, he was a minority owner for years before he became the majority owner. So, do you guys think there's the Greg Beatles of the world that is sitting next to Rich McKay? The Rich McKay, the Greg Beatles are sitting next to Arthur Blank and telling him things, um, not to go with this guy because they know if they bring in a football guy, a real football guy that knows the game, like a Rex Ryan, that's not going to buy into the bullshit that they selling.
I think there's some collusion in it because, like I was trying to say, McKay, his dad, John McKay and Buddy Ryan, they did not like each other at all.
Right.
They didn't.
See, I
They did
didn't
not
know.
like each other at
I
all.
did not know that. That makes sense.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Well, that make a lot of sense.
Because remember the Buccaneers. They used to be in the NFC. They used to be in the NFC Central, and they was in the same division with the Bears.
Yep.
They didn't like each other. All right. And now you go to great with the situation with that's why we didn't hire Rex Ryan those two times. It's because they're manipulating how they feel or who they want as the head coach or the GM. Like with Beatles, I don't. And I'll say Beatles been with the organization for a long time as well. And my thing is when they put him into the president role, and I'm like, this man don't really know much about football like that. And also we got to take into account as well. Rich McKay, y'all know what board? Y'all know it because you know you got different committees in the NFL. Y'all know the Rooney Rule. You guys know who heads up that department, that committee? It's Rich
Yep.
McKay. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that, because some people, you didn't want a black coach. And I'm like, well, if I had to choose my black coach for this team, it would have been Brian Flores. But that's just me.
Somebody will actually, you know.
Exactly. From the Belichick tree who actually knows defense and actually showed results in the past.
All right, LT, what you
Uh, now what I didn't know, what Don said, was that the McKays and the Ryans got issues with each other. So now that draws to the conclusion why we didn't bring in a Rex Ryan.
Long
As far
time.
as them, as far as like a collusion, I mean, at this point, it seems that way. I mean, I can't really say for sure, but when it's all said and done, like we as an organization and as a fan base, we're starving for a championship. Yet you have guys who's letting emotions take place of having a winning organization. No, I don't want you to bring in this guy because we had some past issues. Instead of letting bygones be bygones, water under the bridge, and hey, we all want the same thing for you as an owner, Mr. Blank, and for the city of Atlanta and for the Atlanta Falcons fan base, for us to finally host that coveted Lombardi trophy that we all desperately want in our lifetime. So, like, we have to get to a point where we got to look at things like, all right, are we going to allow personal issues keeps us from a Lombardi, or may I say, do we have to get rid of these guys and get guys in, or at least not get them away from the organization, but get them out of the power that they are sitting on to get football knowledge people in the business for us to get the type of coaches that we need in order for us to excel as an organization. Because I know all of us on this panel, everybody in this chat, and every Falcon fan everywhere is all tired of sitting here thinking about next year or the year after or whatever. We all tired of that. And I commend Sam for the patience that he has had his whole life, but I know that man is tired as well. Like that's a lot of years and a lot of football this man done witnessed from bad seasons, bad team owners, so on and so forth, for us to still not have that Lombardi that we possibly should have had in years past. So like I said, it just some changes have to be made, and that's my point on that.
Yeah,
So, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
it's been a long ride. I've seen, and grew up in the Rankin Smith era, changing coach after coach, what I'm saying, just for the sake of keeping the tax write off, you know. Um we all know the 2016 story. We all know the 98 story. And Mike, you remember this conversation out at the Chateau Bar with our, very good friend who said that there are some higher ups that have been keeping former great players at bay from this organization.
Mm,
Um, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Co- Collusion, maybe. That probably that may I'm not even doubting that there is an agenda against the Atlanta Falcons, given all the things that have happened in history. You know,
I
um,
mean, that was the reason why that was a clear agenda because as soon as people heard that the Falcons were seeking Kirk Cousins, like the whole NFL tried to, shit on him, and they tried to make sure it's like it was some conspiracy that the Falcon did it illegally. I mean, Tom Brady literally left in the middle of the night to go to Tampa Bay, but we get hit with conspiracy
Right.
theory. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, my thing is, man, um, I I want to take a slight detour because again, there's this misconception that everybody wants Raheem fired. All right, now, I can speak from everybody on here. Nobody wants him fired. So the question I have for everybody is, what is the main frustration when you look at Raheem that frustrates you?
Well, for me, um, I've said this early in the season that I was seeing issues that reminded me of his stint here while under Dan Quinn. And when I was looking at it at the time, Falcons was finding ways to win games. So I really couldn't, express on those issues. But I was saying to myself, like, I'm hoping change will come. And I'm hoping, like, as a coach, you and your coaching staff are seeing those issues and can make those changes. But they never did until they finally got to a point where now the issues that I was having issues with early in the season are the reasons why we lost the last 4 games. And that's where my problem come in at, because now it's a ego issue, with one of the reasons why Dan Quinn lost his job, as well as Arthur Phillips lost his job. Your ego is getting in the way of a winning team. And granted, be that as it may, we've been hearing from, we've been saying ourselves, we've been hearing from the media that the Falcons were, maybe a player or two away from being a playoff team. When you saw this team constructed before the season kicked off, it literally looked like a playoff team. And now here we are, possibly on the verge of missing the postseason to the team that we are this swept. So, like, that's where my issues are coming in at. Like, the stuff that I saw you do when you was our interim head coach in 2020, you're still doing in 2024. So that means you learned nothing while you was gone. So that I said, that's where I look at it, because even in his time in LA, he still really didn't learn much, but he had the necessary talent that was overshadowing his deficiencies as a coach.
Hmm.
So that's my point.
My frustrations come from him is like, and it's coming from a former DB coach, all right? And I play DB as well. You are a secondary DB coach. That's your trade, all right? Why in the hell you don't mix up your schemes? You play the same scheme every freaking snap. I don't understand that. I really don't. And I understand, as a coach, you should understand your players and you coach up to your players' strengths. But we have AJ Terrell, we have D. Alford, we have Clark Phillips, we have Mike Hughes, we have Bates, we have Simmons. These guys are talented, man. These guys can play multiple schemes. Hell, I know Clark Phillips can play multiple schemes because hell, Utah. That's all Utah did in the Pac-12 when they was in the Pac-12. I don't know what division, I don't know what conference they in now, but remember Utah from what 2021 to 2023. Like they were the best defensive team in the Pac-12. We already know that the Pac-12 don't play defense like that. Like these guys can play multiple schemes. You don't have to have them in cover three the entire time. So are you limiting the scheme because of you don't feel like your players can play multiple schemes, or you just doing it because that's what you want to do? And I'm telling you, I really feel like he's doing it on purpose because that's what he wants to do. That's the type of scheme he wants to run. And you see, you get your players out there getting lashed every single down. That's my frustrations for Raheem Morris, man. Like you gotta mix it up. Mix it up. You got guys to lean on. You got Jimmy Lake, who you hired to run the defense, and he hasn't been running it. You got Jerry Gray. You got Huxtable. These guys have been in the like Huxtable and Gray. They've been around football for combined 80 something years. Lean on those guys. Allow them to help you.
Sam.
My notable mindset in watching new hires in this organization have always been the same. I look in the first year, it's just to watch and see, what they do, how they do it, and in our situation. Um, no, I'm not turning a blind eye to anything. I'm seeing the same thing that everybody else is seeing. Um, and I can't say that this is would this be something that he's doing on purpose, because it's hard for me to actually think that someone would want to sabotage themselves in doing something that is taking the team downhill. I'm watching this season, and my what I've been watching is just a sense of deja vu, and I'm looking back at 2015, and I'm watching this year, and it's like watching a movie, a sequel to a movie. You know, um, I just think that he just have to he just have to do better, man. You know, at leading this team. If you brought people in to do a job, you know what I'm saying, be accountable of yourself and let them do that job, or task them to do that job. And if what they're doing is not working, then I mean, okay, all right, you exact yourself as the head guy and try to help make changes. You know,
You know, for me, man, and thank you, John Sinclair, for the membership. Um, but he's just not a head coach. Raheem is not a head coach. He's on. First year. Um, a lot. I mean, just say that. The longest you see all these cheerleaders on the side of the doing their thing and rah rah and doing.
Give me a D. D. Give me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am so
Yeah,
sorry.
that's what he's doing. But he's not doing it. He's internalizing it.
I'm so sorry.
But
I am sorry. My intrusive thoughts took over.
but I wanna add I wanna piggyback off what Sam said because he said that he's not doing it. My thing is if you continuing to go go towards something that's not working, you keep doing it and doing it and doing it. we're in week what? This is week what? 14 right now. We're in week 14 right now, right? All right.
I think so.
So this is 14 with 13 games. 13 games. And you keep doing the same thing. You are doing it on purpose.
I think I think what Sam mean by that is that he believes in what he's doing a little bit too much. Even if the shit is about to blow up in your fucking face. Like you got 5 seconds to get rid of that bomb in your hand, or that grenade in your hand, and you saying, you know what, I think I got an extra 10 seconds to get this motherfucker out.
Hey yo,
You really
I'm sorry.
But that's the thing with cover three, and this is I'm working real hard, you guys, to bring somebody on to explain different things for you guys that who's been at a higher level than us. So stay tuned for that. But what I'm getting at is, yeah, you want to run your scheme. The scheme works, but you have to have a solid front seven. Because cover three, if you play cover three well, it generates a lot of interceptions. But
You gotta have a lot of three
you got to
tails.
have the pressure. You got to have the pressure. You got to have the sacks. We're not getting home like that. And the guys, and I'm telling you, the guys that we have, they're looking confused because an offensive coordinators, they see what we're doing, and guess what? The route concepts they coming against us, they're causing guys like D. Alford to look confused, Justin Simmons to look confused. Like this is the first time I've seen Justin Simmons play below Pro Bowl caliber type of football in his career. If y'all don't believe me, go look at the days when he was in Denver.
He don't know. He don't know from snap to snap. He can't be aggressive. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
He can't be
you
aggressive.
can't because cover three is not a. If you play it as a DB and you playing cover three, you cannot be aggressive. Your job is to cover a portion of the field, and if a route comes in your area, you are to either guard the guy or if you think you can jump the route and pick it off. Those are your two options. But sometimes what happens if two players come in your zone, so you got to figure out which one to get. That's where it causes a lot of confusion at.
Yeah, because a perfect example on last week, in that short yardage touchdown, on that out route at the 5 yard line, where D offer was I saw it and he was I think he was expecting AJ to stay with Jefferson going outside, and he stayed there like he was going to take the man that was going inside, and AJ kept with old boy going left across the middle, and he gets burned outside at the pylon. It's stuff like that.
You can't unless with. See, the thing is, isn't the cover three. Let's go back to what Don was saying. The cover three is not the problem. The problem is you keep playing that same shit every fucking down. You got to mix it up. You can't continue to play the same coverage over and over, give the team the same look. Oh, eventually they're going to figure it out. But another thing, he has this false sense of trust in his players. Even when your scheme is bullshit, they gonna make a play. Like that's fucking Looney Tunes. You give me a fucking $1 bill and saying, all right, go buy me some Dom Perignon. Bitch, I need more than a damn dollar.
Bro, listen. What he did one time was he flipped he moved some of the DBs around to disguise like he's not running the same scheme, bro. I already know you running the fucking same scheme, bro.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Well, now he moved Clark Phillips over this side. I'm like, bro, it's still cover three. It's still the same thing. And like last game,
who argued that?
Somebody that it's nobody. It wasn't even an argument because I said what I need to say. He said what he had to say.
I wish y'all could have seen my face right now because somebody really argued. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
But like last game, I was so upset that why the defense didn't have Clark Phillips on Addison. I'm like, bro, y'all don't know who y'all have on y'all team. Clark Phillips shut Addison down in that Pac-12 championship game a couple of years ago. But again, I'm just a 37-year-old teacher that don't really know that I guess I don't know.
Do we not know that we have a bunch of guys playing cornerback that can man up? Have we not noticed that anytime we man up, the front gets home, or either we get a turnover. Every
No,
time we man up.
AJ Terrell on this team is a reincarnate Robert Alford.
AJ has actually been playing well. Like it's nothing.
No,
here.
I'm saying that as a joke. Like that's how they treat him. Like for me personally, I don't know why he wasn't matched up against Justin Jefferson all game last week.
I mean, it made sense, but the thing is, you play it. See, the problem with that one, it wasn't AJ Terrell being able to match up because you can still hide Jefferson. So AJ traveling on him is not gonna make a difference. It's not gonna make a difference because they're gonna find a way to put him in the slot and get him open. So that ain't the problem. The problem is what what Dunn was talking about as far as Clark Phillips. You need to have him traveling. He needs to travel and stay on Addison. See, that was the matchup. The problem is the matchup because with the number one receiver, you can always cloud that guy and kind of close him off. But the guy, the second and the third receivers are the one that caused all the issues. And because you just kept checking it down, getting 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards here. You know what I'm saying? That right there is where the problem lies. They want AJ to travel, but everybody else is getting open. Everybody getting open. I could have sworn that I don't know what the hell they were thinking. We're having D Alford. We're talking about D Alford. He ain't did that all fucking year. But y'all got him playing thirds and playing D. He ain't did that all fucking year. When was the fucking last time I saw him? That's why he panicked like that because you ain't did it all fucking year.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Why is he even in that position? Because that wasn't something that he practiced all year long. You out here experimenting with shit. But guys that had nothing, if I see fat ass Judon covering a fucking wide receiver in the fucking slot again, I'm gonna blow my fucking gasket. This dude 280 fucking pounds just about, and you got him in the fucking slot covering a goddamn wide receiver. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, it was Eddie Goldman dropping in coverage for me.
That shit. Who hell do you think you are? And who in the hell is gonna be afraid of Judon and Eddie Goldman in coverage? It's stuff like that.
The water boy can run out route and beat that.
I ain't gonna lie.
Funny, LT. I already got there, man. That shit ain't funny, motherfucker.
It's funny to me because you watched it all year. Like, how many times we saw Judon drop back in coverage at least 3 times a game all season, and I'm saying to myself, I've seen the man drop back coverage in coverage downs, like 3rd and 10, and you got Judon in coverage. I'm looking like, so the guy that we brought in for pass rush, you got him in coverage on 3rd and 10. What sense does that make?
Yep. Who are you trying to fool? Who are you trying to fool, bro? It's that stuff that be kicking me. You got Drake London, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with the offense. Like, I really don't have a problem with the offense outside of just the turnovers, really. Turnovers and penalties. I just have that. But like defensively, I just see a bunch of dumb shit. It's stuff that you know. Look, he done did. How many times we done seen this shit before? This ain't this.
Man, look,
Look, this is
it,
2015 to 16. Dan Quinn experimented. He is trying to force that. He's trying to. He not slick and he not fooling me.
you got
He's
DNs
trying to
and
prove to
outside
the world that
linebackers
that
going
philosophy
going
works.
in coverage, dropping back in coverage like Vic Beasley and Pat McKinley all over again. You got guys that
And
yeah.
literally my problem with Raheem Morris. Literally my problem with Raheem Morris.
Turnovers, like I said, I don't have a problem with turnovers. I don't have that shit happens in football. That's the repetitive thing that I see. That philosophy never changing. This defensive philosophy ain't changing with shit. Right? This is
And I'm
Dan Quinn defense all over and over again. All he's trying to prove to the whole world and to the NFL is that this philosophy works. Dan Quinn trying to prove it to us. It works. That shit don't work. They almost blew the
he
fucking game.
almost lost yesterday against New Orleans.
Oh my God, Kel. I hate your fucking guts.
And not only that, like if we can look, let me share something because I know a lot of people talking about the quarterback situation with Penix Jr. and Kirk Cousins. I want everybody to go back and do their homework. People who watching, I want y'all to go back to that 2003 Cincinnati Bengals team. They drafted Carson Palmer first overall that year. Guess who played the entire season?
What's the name?
Anybody know?
Kirk Kittle,
It was Kirk Kittner. It
I
was
believe.
John Kittner. It was John Kittner. John Kittner played the entire year. They did finish the season 8-8, but a lot of people was giving because Marvin Lewis, that was his first year as a coach for the
Uh-huh.
Bengals, and they was giving him a lot of hell, like you just drafted this good kid first overall, and you're not playing him. Why? So it's about because they were in the playoff hunt that year too, but they lost. I believe they lost. Um, if they would have if they would have beat Baltimore, that it was a December game. If they would have beat Baltimore, they would have won. They would have won a wild card berth, but they didn't. And then they lost against St. Louis, which pretty much was the demise of their playoff hopes right there. So they ended the season 8-8. Like there's still hope. There's still the window is literally very thin for the Falcons right now, but it's still an opportunity that we still have.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, we still had the opportunity. Why would you bench a quarterback in favor of a rookie quarterback who has never played yes, he played when games were out of reach. Get that. But we don't know how he can hold up just starting a game, especially against the Raiders or next week against the Giants. We don't know.
what I said Friday, Mike. What I said we happen Friday. With Ridder. Game Mariota sits down for the season. We throw Ridder in there while we in the playoff hunt. Go win us a football game. Don't even realize that might ruin that man's psyche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, have ruined his confidence, and that's the thing is, you want to be. That's why you want to give these young quarterbacks a little at a time. You want them to just focus on checking the ball down. That's essentially what you want your quarterbacks to do, your young quarterback to do. Go in, change plays here and there, but I don't want you to look for big plays. Look for the outlet, look for the check downs, and that's it. Get these guys confidence. And once their confidence gets up, that's when you give him a little bit more. But you want to give him a little bit at a time. You don't want to just throw him in there. That's why it's essential for you to have a running game to kind of help the quarterback gain confidence. And once his confidence is there, now you start to see his real talent come, and that's what the Falcons did with Vic. They did the same thing with Matt Ryan. I actually saw it with even Brett Favre. If you watch the Packers when he got there, they just gave him a little bit. They gave him a little bit at a time. But like you just don't throw guys out there just because you want to see. Well, he can't be no worse than it. Yeah, he actually can be a lot worse because I've seen. If you go back and look at that national championship game against Michigan, I thought Mike Penix was going. I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to die. They were destroying that.
That's why I said when he's under pressure, he just throws the ball up. And there was and that pick he threw to Michael Sanders here right there. I'm like, yeah, that should have never been thrown. That should have never been thrown. And it was underthrown too. Like nobody, only person that was right there in that area was Michael Sanders Hill.
So you don't want to do that. Those are the things that you don't want to do when it comes down to like the young quarterback to just throw him in there. You always want to have, and this is why, like for me, I think he's holding this franchise back, personally, Raheem, and he's holding like he don't realize, and I hope the Atlanta Falcons understand this, but he's holding this franchise back by not building this defense properly. Because if you don't have a defense, guess who's gonna have to wait? Nobody think he's gonna have to wait. If you don't have a defense and you don't have a run, because there's no guarantee that we're gonna keep Tyler Algier the last two years or so. He got one more year on it. There ain't no guarantee we're gonna keep him.
You just answered this other part of the segment I was gonna bring up. Marvin Lewis. This is why Marvin Lewis didn't start Carson Palmer his first year, because he wanted to bring that Raven style defense to Cincinnati, and he knew it was going to take more than a year for him to install that. So why start a guy? Why put your new franchise quarterback in if you don't have everything figured out on your team yet?
So yeah, that right there is why you want to be patient. You know what I'm saying? It's like figure things out defensively. And like I said, for me personally, I have no clue what this defense is. I don't have a fucking clue what they want to do because they're not doing any of the shit they said they was gonna do. They're doing nothing.
It's just like what Dan Quinn said, he wanted to be fast and physical, and we ain't seen none of that his whole time here in Atlanta.
This is the reason why I keep bringing up 2015. The offense, I think, Matt struggled with that, and then here comes year 2, and then we draft a lot of, we drafted defensively pretty well, and the team takes off unexpectedly to a Super Bowl trip.
But they already had the system in place. That's why it was so bad for Kyle Shanahan. Because he had a system in place. The thing is, we saw it, but it didn't work. He was trying to iron out the kinks with Matt Ryan. So the system wasn't the problem. We knew what he was going to do. He knew what he was going to do, and he was doing that. Even when it came down to manipulating the wide receivers. Obviously, we know what that happened with White, but he had the system in place, but we knew what he was going to do. I don't know what the fuck we are defensively. I don't know if we cover 2, cover 3, because motherfucker, all we doing is sitting back and 15 yards away from people. I know when we do it, when we get aggressive, how we look, but we rarely aggressive like that.
It reminds me of, you playing somebody online, right? Y'all seen that meme? Somebody just sitting back, laying back, and then you down 3 touchdowns, and then now you want to play aggressive. Now you leaning in the chair, like facing the TV. Yeah. That's our coaching staff right there. Y'all want to be lax going in the game, and then when we get down 3 scores, now you want to get serious. And I'm like, bro, like you playing a dangerous game.
I have no clue what we want to do defensively. Like I said, offense, it's clear that we want Bijan Robinson to be the guy. It's clear that we want that. It's no mistake about what we are offensively. A lot of us don't want to accept it, but that's clearly what we want. We want to run the damn ball. We want to use talent. We want to use Bijan. We've seen that. I know what we want to be offensively, but I have no clue what I don't know what we. I don't know who we gonna play from game to game. I saw, and this is what drove me fucking insane. I saw David Onyemata sitting on the damn bench and take on Graham in the first quarter. Like, why the hell you got one of your best defensive linemen on the bench and you starting to take on Graham? What the fuck has he ever done? And the only reason why David Onyemata is getting reps right now and playing a lot better because Taquan Graham hurt. Like, this is the shit I'm talking about. This motherfucker, Raheem, look, I don't know what he's doing, but for me, I'm going to say this. I think he's sabotaging this dude defensive guy. I think he's sabotaging Jerry Gray. I'm going to be real. I think he's sabotaging Jerry Gray.
You talking about Jimmy Lake or Jerry Gray? Which one?
Jerry Gray.
Yeah, I don't see
the one and only. He's because Jerry Gray knows this defense. He's been here. He knows most of the players. I think he's deliberately ignoring everything because we ain't doing shit that Jerry Gray even knew. We ain't doing shit that Jimmy Lake like. He's sabotaging somebody on that defense. I'm telling y'all.
He's sabotaging everybody because everybody's defensive schemes that we have on this team, it doesn't look like that on the field.
Mm-hmm. It don't. We ain't doing the damn thing, but that bullshit that he like to do. And it's what, week 14? And we still trying to figure out, oh man, what about secondary? Can we get interception this game? Are you fucking kidding me?
Could it be that on the inside of the building, everybody wants Jerry Gray to be the coach of this team?
I believe so.
It's a jealousy and ego thing, man. It's a jealousy and ego thing. That's what I see it as.
Mm-hmm. They know what the power and who really likes whom. It was a reason why Jerry Gray didn't go anywhere. He didn't go anywhere. He said, Jerry Gray, I'm gonna keep him around because he knows this team. He didn't say he was a brilliant mind. He said he knows his team, and it's gonna be an easier transition for me.
He might have been told he had to keep him and feel some kind of way about this shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why I said Gray's gonna be gone after this season. It's gonna be sad.
I believe so.
He ain't gonna stay around for the politicking. I already know he ain't.
That's why he left Green Bay. The same thing. It was an internal fight between those defensive guys over there.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime there's competition, you notice it's the same thing that happened to Richard Smith.
Yep.
Same thing.
Even though Richard Smith did a good job at developing Vic Beasley and that linebacker core, Debo and all them, we don't never give Richard Smith the credit for that. Because guess what? Dan Quinn hijacked that. He hijacked it and like, well, I didn't know you did not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't care. And that outside linebacker position with Tack McKinney and all that shit, and none of the motherfuckers developed. They brought in Bruce Irvin and every damn thing. Still didn't do anything. So these guys in their egos. I mean, we kind of knew that. And before we wind it down, and I got a question for y'all because I saw the press conference. Don might know why I'm about to go with this. And this motherfucker Jimmy Lake had a mitigated gall, LT. A mitigated gall to say that he's not worried about Desmond fucking Ridder. And I'm talking about Jimmy Lake. He said, yeah, Aiden O'Connell is the guy, but we know who Desmond Ridder is, and I'm not really, Not those exact words, but he's not really too, you know, he's not too worried about Desmond. See, this is the shit that I'm talking about. These egotistical fuck faces ain't did shit, but you got this much. How the fuck do you have the nerve to say this about Desmond Ridder after the shit that you give it up this year to guys? We talking about young quarterbacks have just destroyed y'all defense. And you got the nerve to sit up here and try to say that you not worried about Desmond Ridder? What the fuck have you done this year to say, all right, I'm not worried about anybody? So you think these guys are way too confident, or just their egos, man? Their egos won't let them.
Confidence comes with results, though. To his ego, you can be confident about something. You can be confident. That's the thing. Confident. You can be confident because you've been there before. You've done it before, and clearly, our guys haven't. So it's more ego or arrogance. That's what I said. It's more arrogance than anything.
That man really said you ain't read about Desmond Ridder.
Yep.
So,
I
boy,
mean, I
boy,
don't understand how a 500 record in college against Desmond Ridder, which is 1-1, and in that one, the L you took from Desmond Ridder, it wasn't a good look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I'm like, bro, like, are you really saying that? You of all after the shit that y'all done this year defensively, which is nothing.
you ain't
You,
worried about Desmond Ridder, but Bo Nix was looking like 2013 Peyton Manning.
bro,
Okay,
come on, man, come on, man.
okay.
I ain't that
Yeah,
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, dude was
man, Sam
clearly a
Donald.
bust
Oh my god.
and put up 400 or 500 yards, threw for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
And
the nerve to say that. You not worried about this, boy?
I ain't worried about no Desmond Ridder. He ain't nobody to me. Even though I allow Justin Fields to come with gas our defense to get a dub. Even though all they did was kick field goals, I allow Bo Nix to look like the second coming of Peyton Manning. I allow Sam Darnold to get off on us. I mean, quite frankly, even though we did sweep the Buccaneers, we allowed Baker Mayfield to gash us in back-to-back games. So what we talking about?
at this point, let's be honest. It could be Felipe Franks starting against us, and
Oh my
I'm gonna
god.
take him
Don't
very
do that.
seriously.
Don't do that.
But I'm just saying, like,
Don't,
that's the
don't do
thing. It's the arrogance, man. Like,
As
you
funny
don't
as
need to
I
take
am,
nobody
you
lightly.
wildin'. You wildin'. I ain't gonna lie to you. As funny
don't,
as I
Man,
am, I'm a joke, but you wildin' for that one. Felipe Franks, really. You
right.
wildin', son.
That right.
but that what I'm saying is we taking people lightly, and then they coming out there and being our ass. We don't need to be taking nobody lightly right now. Every person we play against is a crucial opponent.
What I will say is this. Uh, you can't come out and saying that you're not worried about Desmond Ridder when you allow like a guy like Marquez Valdez Scantling to score not only one but two touchdowns and have over 130 yards against your defense. A guy that pretty much been irrelevant all year. If I'm not mistaken, he had just signed with the Saints when that took place. So the for you to even make that statement says a lot to me about you because you really one thing you don't underestimate your opponent. You don't do that. You never underestimate an opponent. As much as most people be like, well, why can't I underestimate an opponent? No, you don't never underestimate your opponent. But
Well,
here you are doing that, and it's just a bad look. And then on top of that, you gave them bulletin board material. That's another thing you don't do. You don't give people bulletin board material. Now you got Now, bad enough this man already feels slighted how his time in Atlanta ended. But then for a guy to come in and say that, he might have been looking at that all week. He been thinking about it, dreaming about it. He can't wait for 8 o'clock tonight.
That's just a unwritten law. I ain't even gonna say rule, law. You don't give a guy any more motivation than he already got. Because trust and believe, Desmond Ridder, it got a salted dog taste in his mouth in this Atlanta Falcons experience. And you walk up on a microphone and just dismiss him. I mean, I know he's already been looking at, you know what I'm saying, social media and watching all this shit. The fans from this organization, it has been, you know, the done said and are saying. And here you go in lime green fluorescent skittle goddamn colors in letters on the bulletin board. All right.
We know Desmond Ridder. I'm not too concerned about him. Yeah.
All right.
But that man gas you tonight.
Just saying. You look
They
up in the
going
front
off.
court, this man got
They going off.
200.
The
He
reason why
got
he
200
said
per
that.
yard in the first quarter.
The reason why he said that because they going off last year when we played against the Rams. And the thing is, okay, look at the guys y'all had on y'all defense in Los Angeles. Y'all ain't got the same type of talent in here in Atlanta. So stop.
Did we play the Rams last year?
Hmm. I thought we did.
Did we play?
Didn't we?
We played them the year before.
Yeah, we played them the
Which
year
is
before. I thought we played them last year. I thought we played the West last year, didn't we? No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
no, we played the West the year before.
Oh.
We played the North last. Yeah, we played the North last year because we had
Yeah.
Green Bay and Detroit back to back weeks. Yeah, we played the North last year, but we played the Rams the year before. But even then, that's another thing I wanted to point out to people. Because remember now, the Rams had like a 2 to 3 score lead on us, like going into the fourth quarter. And remember, we walked them down all the way to a point that on a third, where we scored and made it a 1 score game, and on a third down where Cooper Kupp caught the pass for a completion, and if I'm not mistaken, I forgot what the cornerback was. He allowed the catch, but he punched the ball out and then recovered it. Like we literally had an opportunity to steal that game from them. Mindful, this is a Raheem Morris led defense with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and company on there, and you let the Falcons, with Marcus Mariota leading the way, walk you down.
Yeah, that
So
did
yeah,
happen.
so like that, like it's stuff like that I remember in other situations is why I'm like I knew I wasn't high up on the hire, but it was the choice that was made, and I have to support this man because in order for my team to succeed, he has to succeed. And right now, he's not succeeding.
That's the same bullshit that I seen before. I'm not. Don't tell me nothing about no motherfucking patience when I saw this shit blow up in our fucking face in the Super Bowl. So you can suck a dick right here with that patience, resilience bullshit. I don't want to hear none of that bullshit. You doing the same exact shit over and over, playing that off ass coverage, hoping and wishing that we can get to the quarterback with 4. I done seen this before. It's another sad love song, wrecking my brain like crazy. That's what it is. All right. I wish I could put that Tony Braxton song on because I'll be singing it. Because of you. That's what the fuck we saying.
Wild as hell.
You can't tell me that this is not reminiscent of what we've been seeing in the entire Matt Ryan, Dan Quinn era. It's the exact same thing. We're going to throw the ball 50 times, run the ball when we're not throwing the ball well. Defensively, we want to wait on the pass rush and hope we get interceptions. Motherfucker, we've been here before. Stop fooling yourselves. Stop sitting up here talking about, man, we need to get a black man the power. We need to get a black man the choice. We gave Arthur Smith a chance. Let's give the nigger a chance. The nigger don't get a chance. Fuck that.
God, he said the N word on the live.
Yes. Look, if Stephen A. Smith and all motherfuckers with big podcasts can say nigga, I can too, goddamn it.
True story.
Just saying. Them motherfuckers be cussing up a storm on there and everybody say, Mark, man, you got a 50 round. Motherfucker, he just said, you hear what he said? He talking about ass and titties on there. He talking about sucking Marley Quinn, like rumors of him sucking her titties off.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Y'all don't see what Stephen A. Smith addressing rumors about allegations of Jay-Z and him and being in a that don't happen. Okay. We're gonna pretend like Mike is the only one that's foul on.
Nah, I ain't say that.
No, we're not saying you, but it's a lot of motherfuckers. Look, it's a lot of motherfuckers that say we the only one doing it.
That's
you know, we a cult. You know,
we a cult over here. We're foul. Okay, we're foul.
We're in voodooism and we brainwashing folks. So you know.
Yeah, brainwashing without narratives. Yeah.
I got a black robe with a cross on right now.
I'm just saying, man. I don't care nothing about all this black and white stuff, man. I want to see an improvement defensively, and I'm not saying any improvement.
Some people have turned on Raheem already. Mostly the black women that's in the Falcons commit in the
Oh
Falcons.
God!
Don't you start.
They
saw
a picture. They saw a picture of his family. They saw a picture
Oh
of his
my
wife.
God!
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was married to a sister.
Yeah, and then the boot that they get ready to have another baby.
Oh man, they hate that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
they were nice and liberal.
Real quick, because I got to get out of here. One more again, shout out to my niece. Final performance on Saturday at Jackson State in the Benz. Graduating this year. I love her. Amira Dawkins, you know what I'm saying, fulfilling her dream, getting a college degree and putting it down, you know what I'm saying, at halftime to these shows with Jackson State, you know what I'm saying, B-tones, you know. And in this game tonight, we don't need any turnovers. Defense need to show up. We need this dub to go down the line, you know what I'm saying, for the rest of the season. Now I got to get out of here.
Hey man,
All right,
we about
OG.
to call it. We about to call it. We're gonna give our last takes on here, man. So appreciate Sam for joining us. Done. LT, y'all want to kind of give y'all last takes on it?
Since we are playing the Raiders, and this is what the Falcons need to do in honor of the late great Al Davis, just win, baby.
We need that. Boy, we need that. Man.
Me, I'm just gonna sit back tonight, enjoy the game with a 12-piece lemon pepper, honey lemon pepper
Oh God.
as a
I
fries.
thought we was free. Well, wishful thinking.
And look, at this point, man, we just enjoy the game, you guys, and we're gonna see what the outcome gonna be like tonight. And it's either gonna be yes, or it's gonna be laughing. Just complete laughing for hours or days on end. So just hope things can work out in our favor today. So that's all.
And that's all I got to say about that, man. Like I said, you're gonna sit back and watch. This is a must win. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts, and they have to do it convincingly. You can't barely win against a terrible team. This team is trying to get the number 1 pick, and you can't make this a game. It can't be a close game. You got to convincingly beat these guys. With no Max Crosby, I don't want to hear no excuses. Zero excuses for not beating them by double digits. None whatsoever. That tells you how poor of a coach he is, but he doesn't beat this team by double digits with your third string quarterback in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to hear none of that nonsense. All right, he bets to convincingly beat this team. There's no reason why we shouldn't beat this team by more than 2 scores. All right, needs to be 2 scores, and that's it. So with that being said, man, this has been another episode of Mad Mike in the Morning. That's all I got to say about that. The Atlanta Falcons Raider Monday night. Raheem, is win or there's going to be hell. And that's the bottom line, because Mad Mike said so.
Put your eyes back in your head.
Pry their eyes open and force them to see the truth. We will skin the sheep and sacrifice the weak. The Unholy Alliance has arrived.